In Lewis County's largest city, Centralia, a storefront in the heart of town is tied to a religion that preaches racial purity for whites. The store's owner, Thayer, did not respond to messages left by King 5.
Hi, Tanner.
Hi.
I'm Chris from Channel 5. Can we talk?
No, I don't want to talk to you.
No?
Thayer's art and music shop sells products on the website for the Asatru Folk Assembly, a religion that only allows white members.
I mean, you're not hiding out here, so we were just hoping you could kind of fill us in on what's going on.
Sorry, you're trespassing.
Okay, all right.
The store, named Kultur, the German word for culture, is the most outward sign of the Asatru Folk Assembly's presence in Lewis County, but not the only one. In addition to Kultur, citizens have raised concerns about AFA gatherings at a rural property outside town that is owned by a former Grand Secretary of the Ku Klux Klan. Asatru-related organizations have incorporated in state records, and 2 Centralia City Council members have come to the religion's defense.
I believe that the media has jumped on this, for the sake of their publication.
Asatru, the worship of ancient Viking gods, is not necessarily discriminatory, but with its whites-only church in Minnesota, Asatru Folk Assembly is a radical offshoot.
We believe that Asatru is an ethnic faith for lack of a better term, for white people, for the descendants of European peoples.
Do you feel the white race is superior?
We're not claiming to be better than anyone. We're simply claiming to be a unique and identifiable race of people.
Matthew Flavel calls himself the high priest of the religion that claims about 1,000 members nationwide. The Southern Poverty Law Center calls the AFA a hate group.
I read your mission statement, and it's horrible. It puts you in the company of Nazis and the Aryan Brotherhood, where whites are superior, and we are promoting white genetics.
No, there's nowhere on our website that promotes whites being superior. That's just not true. Preserving white genetics, absolutely.
On the outskirts of Centralia, this property is known as the Sacred Spiral Sanctuary.
So all of this is this magical journey into fire. So don't miss it.
Owner Elwyn Herman's spiritual retreats and other events on her property seemed open and diverse to new guests.
For a long time, I thought that things were fine until I realized maybe there was something not quite right.
Justine Pence and Catherine Thompson were friends of Elwyn and her husband, Tom Herman.
I believed that he was just like a very sweet older man.
I really thought we were kind of kindred spirits, earth mothers into herbology.
But as the relationship grew, they say Elwyn became more revealing.
We had some private conversations about how she realized, or how she believed that culture should stay separate.
And how did you take that?
I was pretty taken back.
Another friend of the Hermans says she had a similar experience at the Sacred Spiral Sanctuary when another guest confronted her about the black man she dated.
And she was horrified at the idea that someone would date someone other than their own race, and was basically told to leave. And then I was never allowed on the property again.
This newsletter shows Elwyn Herman as a featured guest alongside Asatru Folk Assembly founder Stephen McNallen in Leavenworth in 2020. Then came the most stunning news of all about Elwyn's mild-mannered husband, Tom Herman.
When I saw the articles about his past, I was shocked. Honestly, I was just baffled.
This photo shows a much younger Tom Herman, unmasked and in the company of fellow Ku Klux Klan members in 1989. It was part of an article unearthed in October by an anti-racism group in Southwest Washington.
So he would go out publicly in his Klan outfit.
Yeah, and during that time frame, yeah, he was getting his face out there.
Sue Smith is a private investigator in Dover, New Hampshire. She uncovered the old photo and tracked the former Grand Secretary of the New Hampshire KKK to Washington State 9 years ago for the news article. The New Hampshire Magazine story reported on Herman's life after he left the Northeast in the mid-1990s.
He was a police officer at the time.
Both Hermans declined interview requests from King 5, but in a statement, Tom Herman said, "I disavow my activity with the KKK, and I am deeply sorry for any harm that has caused. Racial strife leads nowhere." The Hermans said they embrace diversity and inclusion.
Hi, are you Elizabeth?
Yes.
In March, we visited the home of Elizabeth McBride, another Asatru connection in Centralia. She is listed on paperwork of 2 Asatru organizations that incorporated in the state of Washington. She says she's not affiliated with the AFA, but
Everybody seems to be allowed to have their own ethnocentric, cultural ways, except for white people. You know, why is that?
That's the argument that even Centralia City Council member Elizabeth Cameron supports. She says the Asatru's religious freedom is under attack.
I've been very upset over this in our community. I'm not aware that we have a white supremacy problem.
But critics say the Asatru Folk Assembly is hiding behind religion, choosing its members based more on who they are instead of what they believe.
You can celebrate the countries that you're from because they have their culture. Whiteness is not a culture. I don't want that to be what my community is.
I want to be clear on one point. We checked with the prosecutor's office and they have no information, and we have not heard anyone say that Asatru Folk Assembly followers have committed any crimes or ever threatened violence in Lewis County. We simply haven't heard that.
Has there been, Chris, any pushback or any protests against this group?
There has been. Some of it from city council members, including Centralia's mayor. She visited the store. She talked to owner Thayer and then posted on Facebook that she was opposed to the whites-only religion. Also, there was a small protest a few weeks ago and some angry citizen comments that had been submitted to city council.